Hello?
Is this Will?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Just about to record a review. Who is this?
I'm watching you.
We're not doing this, are we?
What's your favorite scary movie?
The Last Airbender. It's absolutely frightening.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Will, and for this retro review, I'm taking a look at 1996's Scream. Scream was directed by Wes Craven and stars Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, and Drew Barrymore. This was kind of one of like the revival of the slasher movie genre, because before this, the last ones I really remembered were Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, and Halloween. So this was kind of the reintroduction to that genre of horror movies, and it all revolves around a series of killings in Woodsboro. The main target seemingly being a high school, and this is where Neve Campbell's character of Sidney Prescott goes, and it's just people are dropping like flies and they don't know who done it. I will say with Scream, when I rewatched it, one thing I did notice was that they don't do a really good job hiding who the killer is. They do a really great job hiding the fact there are two killers, but once you know who the killers are, it's like the creepy boyfriend and the psychotic friend. Yeah, those are the two people running around town killing a bunch of people. I do like the use of having the killer taunt the victim over the phone, and that kind of just set off a whole trend of memes. Well, at this point, it's not memes, but commercials and jokes, whole nine yards. It's a fun movie because it knows what it is. It uses past horror movies as a template. You even have the video store clerk who is super knowledgeable, who's kind of like the horror movie fanboy, played by Jamie Kennedy in the movie. He's basically your person who teaching you the rules of how to survive a horror movie. And of course, no one follows the rules and a bunch of people get killed. I do like how the reveal is done towards the end of the movie. Once we find out it's actually Sidney's boyfriend, and I forget the guy's name, but it's the creepy dude. He played Matthew Lillard plays him, and who also plays Shaggy. So creepy dude ends up being Shaggy. The Ghostface design became super iconic once this movie came out. It was definitely different than what we've seen beforehand, and it was scary, but it just had a really cool design. One thing I don't get about a lot of horror movies is when people do make mistakes. I understand fear plays a major factor in a lot of these movies, but the biggest thing that kills me about Ghostface is that it is just a guy. It's just a guy in a mask stabbing people, and they're not even that strong. I mean, he gets knocked down so much. So I had to spit at the camera. He gets knocked down so much in this movie. I'm like, if someone just turned around and beat his ass with a book or a statue or something, this would all be over really quickly. Courtney Cox kind of plays the media-hungry reporter who's trying to get the story. So there are other red herrings. Like, she plays a red herring. There's kind of a red herring with David Arquette's character of Dewey. They're okay, but in the long run, they're not. The movie doesn't necessarily hide the fact of who the prime suspects are really early on. And if you do pay attention to it, it kind of catches you off. It doesn't catch you off guard with the reveal. It's a cool reveal, but going back and watching it, I was like, oh yeah, they really telegraphed it. The only thing they didn't telegraph was that there was two of them, and I thought that was smart. And comparison, I remember more of the sequels than the original, so it was fun watching the original again. Unfortunately, this was on like network television when I watched it, so they did cut out a lot of the blood and then the gore, but they showed a good amount. They showed a really good amount of it. What is it? And maybe this is just indicative of the time, but something I do notice about this, as well as like The Craft, which that review is on the channel now, I highly recommend checking it out. There's something I noticed about the idea of the high schooler in late 90s are really, maybe it's just in horror movies, but they're a bunch of assholes. Some of them are psychotic. Like when the principal gets killed and they find out he's dead, the freaking kid are like, let's go check out his body before they put him away. I'm like, what the f*** is wrong with you? Dude. Like, holy shit. Anyway, I like Neve Campbell's performance as Sidney Prescott. She definitely didn't feel like the damsel in distress. This was at the point where I think the mold was changing for that sort of archetype of character. And very surprisingly, this came out the same year as The Craft, so she was in both movies. And it's like night and day performances between the two. I mean, going from a supporting character to being a lead, she stepped it up and she did a really good job. I really liked her performance. I think having Drew Barrymore be like that initial kill, as someone who, at this point in time, I think this was one of her first roles after like being out of the spotlight for a while. So to take someone that prolific and put them in a position where they are immediately killed off is really impressive. And I think it gave the movie that sort of like surprise, anyone can go type feeling compared to other stuff where it's like, oh, this person's name is on the marquee, they're probably going to survive the bulk of the movie. No, she was gone in minutes, and that was really impressive. I did like that a lot. Overall, I think Scream it's a huge movie of the time because it really reinvented or revitalized the slasher movie genre. I think it brought it back to the mainstream from what I remember, because after this we got stuff like I Know What You Did Last Summer and so many other things before. Now they're just rebooting some of the classics. But I think Scream really stood out because it introduced a new sort of horror icon character. Now, is he on par with like Freddy and Jason? That's up for debate. I'm not necessarily the best representative of that, but I think he's in the conversation of a top horror icon. Maybe he's not the best, but I do like the design. I just don't think he falls in line with Chucky to me, where it's like it's a villain that's easily disposed of. I'm like, look at Chucky. If you can't drop kick that, I don't know what's wrong with you. And same with Ghostface. It's like, dude, you just gotta pay attention, trip him up once, and then just start whooping his ass. I mean, he's just a dude in a costume. So, Scream. I'm pretty sure most people have seen Scream. If not, you've clearly probably seen some parodies of it with the Scary Movie franchise. So, if you've seen Scream, comment down below. Let me know if you like the movie. Where does it rank in terms of like horror movies? Like, do you feel like it's a good movie if you're a real hardcore horror movie fan, or do you feel like it's more of like a meta joke in terms of what it does with the horror movie genre itself? It does pay a lot of respect, in my opinion, with how the story is wrapped around the knowledge or the idea of horror movies and the structure of them, and potentially, as you see in the sequels, how a trilogy works out. So I'm curious to see what other people's opinions are of Scream, because it kind of feels like that was the movie that kind of brought the genre back into the limelight. So that's my review of Scream, and this is kind of getting to the end of the spooky season. So I really do appreciate everyone who's watched my retro reviews of Scream and Sleepy Hollow and The Craft and all the videos on my channel. I really do appreciate you joining me for that. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you stick with me, subscribe to the channel, like and share these videos with your friends. It really means a lot to me. As always, thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on all the socials listed at the end of the video. And till next time, I'll catch you later. Good night. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you did like this video, why not give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends? You can subscribe to the channel by clicking on my gorgeous little face right over there. You can follow me on all the various social media platforms right below. And last but certainly not least, if you've got a few extra minutes, why not check out one of the lovely videos floating right over here. Later.